Hello, super excited. So try to get to know how to work with this crazy screen. Nice to meet you. You can come back to slide number 1. What is that?
Do you need to?
The clicker?
Clicker.
So, yep. All right.
Goes back and that's front.
All right. So I'm going to speak with you today about my experience in scaling PMM team in hyper-growth environment. And I'll give you some brief about myself and the company I work for, if it's going to work. All right. So I'm Hilal Lauterbach. I'm Senior Director of Product Marketing at SpotOn, managing a team of 14 product marketers. I'm going to share with you today how I think through building this team. How do I get to the processing through hyper-growth phase from a company that come from Series A to Series F in less than 3 years and had total raising of $1 billion. So who is SpotOn? SpotOn is a company that supports small medium businesses in the areas of retail and areas of restaurants. We also have a full business unit for enterprise. So we powerhouse of 60% of the major league venues of sports in US as a whole. How we do that? We're doing that with the full services of software solution, payment processing ecosystem, and a lot of SaaS product that's supporting the internal areas. So we have shared services that support the internal ecosystem as well. So I'm not going to repeat my friend Will, but I will say that. I'm sure that a lot of you, like me, getting the question of what we're doing here, what are we trying to support every time. I guess you saw this slide a lot of time today. I feel that in a hyper-growth scale, it's become excessive because we just hired tons of people. We came from 200 people to 2,600 in 2 years and a half. And we also came to a scale of $200 million to $4 billion in those times. So trying to think about every new VP coming every 3 weeks to the company, asking me, what exactly are you going to do with me? How is that work together going to look like? And I'm finding with myself, really take a step back and understand how vague is it from our perspective. So when I need to answer that, what I'm saying is, think about as an octopus. And as I see it, we see all the gaps in the cross-organization, and we're sending our arms to your different units, sales, product, design, marketing, and we're helping you to bring more alignment to the organization. It's still very vague. And if you think about the scope, it's very hard. So how do we actually speak about it? I'm trying to really understand what the very specific needs of each one of the stakeholders and building the answer, building the support team and tools to make sure we support their specific needs. So how we actually going to that? So identifying the gap to impact the business. One of the most critical parts in my mind is to really work very close to the C-level and very close to the executives. And the conversation I'm trying to have is, what is your business goal? What are we trying to achieve overall as a company? And how am I building my OKR? How do I think about my focuses based on that to make sure there is alignments all through the line and being very, I would say, agile and flexible to grow in flow and change yourself through that. So the type of question I'm asking myself, first of all, what is the job that's not being done today? What are the work in the areas that if I'm going to take them like that today, I'm going to have low-hanging fruits and quick wins for me? And I also think for the long term. So what is the long-term goals we're trying to get? What are the pain points? How do we can really take this challenge and give some value there? And also think about the short term. So how do we take this today to the tactical point of view? How do today, like in 2 months, I can really bring the results? So there is a lot of question about the milestone. How do I go from here to here? And when I speak to my team today, I think that product marketer, we all does, going from here to here and this like that, right? We're very strategic. We know the things 3 and 5 years ahead. Where do we go? What are we trying to achieve? And where does the company go? But in the current market, the current environment, you cannot always be here. You need to shift very closely and be able to be also in the tactical area in which we can shift and make the change and impact right away. So as I said, hyper-growth scale. I have a very close friend called Shelly working in HIP as a PMM. And she told me once a few years ago, Hila, when you're going in a rocket ship, just take the steering wheel and try not to pull off. And I'm trying to take it as like crazy times go, 7 different companies we purchased, acquired the company and merged, and really try to grow through that. So my PMM team really need to shift and grow into this hyper-growth phase. We started in Series A 2.5 years ago. We were a restaurant solution, POS solution, and payment solution system. And then in Series C, which we started the hyper-growth phase, we became a company that have a retail solution for e-commerce. So you think about the world of Shopify and Vend, everything around starting to sell your business online and starting to sell not just in store. So we shifted the business and have another platform. And then in Series E, we purchased a company called Appetize, and we became an enterprise business. So now we have 3 platforms, 1 mini corporate with around 2,000 people at the point, and we found ourselves speaking to different audience, different segments, and different products to each one of them. And we really needed to support them from the perspective of people growth in the company, but also product growth in line of platforms. So how do we go to find the impact and the area of focus? And this is one of the biggest challenges I think PMM can have in each company, but specifically in companies that change tremendously. So how do I think about it? I think about in each series that we raise money, we change the impact and the focus for the company as a whole. And in each time we had different gaps, different challenges that we really need to focus. So where the company goes. In Series B, we started with the baseline. We have tons of engineers focused on building the product line, mostly standalone product. Tons of them, but not yet communicating together. We also focused on building an end-to-end solution for the restaurant department we had. We were focused on the top 5 verticals for the shared services because it was retail clients, payment processing clients that do not use our POS, but also the POS user from the restaurant side. And we started to accelerate hiring. As you can see in this slide, through time we accelerated hiring more and more until in Series F we were very focused on new executive when the company became a huge entity. In the hypergrowth phase, we had 3 companies we merged, so merger and acquisition became a big hustle for us to make sure that we integrate the new product to our product line, and speaking about a new platform now, shifting from product line to solution line, and in the end of the day, to platform that take product, solution, and segment. We also very focused in innovation. So just in 2020, we came out with expansion to most of our line of products, had another level of new products, but have also another 400 enhancements. So think about a small team of PMM, 3 to 5, trying to really figure out how to support 400 enhancements. Not all of them are important, but we need to communicate all of them and make sure there is alignment in the organization. So I'm not going to take you to each one of them, but I will say as the company shifted and we grow through that and go to new segments, going national, going international later, and go to new areas of focus, we shifted and changed tremendously. So I sat with my C-level and I said, where are you trying to achieve? What are you trying to go in the next 3 years? And what are your bigger goals? Because in the end, I wanted to know the business goals to make sure that my OKR is 100% aligned. What the company is trying to achieve. First of all, revenue growth. I guess this is something that's common for all of us. The second one was the new revenue from inbound. It was very high focus on inbound from overall marketing integrated campaign. And then increase the attach rates. Now, as I said, we have around 50 products. How do we make sure that the people that actually use the user that have the first product going to buy the second and the third and see the value in the ecosystem? Because one of the things you're afraid that you start to sell in the base, but you don't know after putting your foot in the door to really make this jump. So this was very important for us to make sure that we have a very clear plan for that. Also, we wanted to increase, obviously, adoption and engagement in our 3 platforms, and we wanted to increase the number of deals per sales rep. This came actually later in Series D when we have 800 people working in the field, account executive all across the nation, and all of them remote. So it was a big deal for us to really build for that. So how do we actually align the hiring and the structure of the team with these business goals? So I had a few questions to ask myself to really think about how I take the right hires and make sure that we are aligned with this business and gaps that we found. So a few questions that I asked myself in order to make sure that we have the right people to do the job. First of all, what are we building for? Are we trying to have the platform adoption? Do we want to have a standalone product adoption? At some question, it was where is the point that we're going to shift, and what are the skill set that we need to have there? Another question, and this is something that Will said earlier, are we going to focus on top of the funnel or bottom of the funnel? To be honest, we started in the top of the funnel, not the classic way. Because when we started, we did not have enough users, and we wanted to make sure we support the lead generation, the overall marketing team that just built with us at the same time. And through the time, we had more focus in building this habit loop. So we go into retention. We're going to, from activation to retention loop, and focus all across bottom of the funnel and mid of the funnel. And then we ask the question about segments versus industry growth. Where are the focus area going to be? In Series D, somewhere between Series D to E, we started to ask the question that took us to the next level. How are we going to support the velocity of the pipeline? How are we going to support the number of deals per rep? How are we going to follow all these needs, the growing needs from the sales team? And the last one was, when is the great time or good time to see that we're crowded enough, have so many competitors to start our competitive intelligence work? And thank you for Clue here in the audience that took us hand by hand, and we did amazing work together. So I could just give you just a brief for that. Working 6 months to build competitive intelligence program for all these 800 people. And after 6 months, we had 80% adoption usage of the overall platform. So people are using our battle cards, our day-to-day analysis about competitors, SWOT, and many other stuff that we created to support the sales team. So then the magic happens. And this is my hocus pocus, what we actually did. So with Series B, we started from the ground up, building all the foundations, starting with 3 PMMs. I was the first one and then added another 3. We were focusing go-to-market and tiering system, all the foundation about how we make org readiness, how we make sure that everybody speaks the same language and position and messaging, very basic level, not too high at this point, but making sure that we have this alignment. Also focus on voice of customer, a lot of interview with clients, focus group, everything that help us to really be close to our clients and better understand the different segments. A lot of educational content. This was the time we were very close to the bottom of the funnel, to the top of the funnel, working about education and content creation, and also basic segmentation. In the hypergrowth phase, starting in Series E, we started to shift. So we became much more proactive. We took our very reactive mode from launching tons of stuff and asking ourselves, what is actually making the impact? Where is the revenue stream? What would we push more to say go, no go recommendation from our perspective to make sure that we launch just the relevant product that we believe in and we can actually support end to end. So in this focus area, we were in-depth segmentation, going deep dive to understand TAM, market sizing, where's the potential, what are the business line from our perspective, how can we get more out of that, attach rates, much deeper messaging and positioning. As I said earlier, competitive intelligence program to have better adoption, and sales enablement. When I say sales enablement, pitch decks, everything around battle cards, everything around sales sheet, coming each week to the sales national meetings to really ensure that we know where do they struggle, how can we get better, a lot of surveys and NPS internally. Much more data and research in this case as well. Pricing and packaging became a big thing for us because now we have 3 platforms. Each one of them has, let's say, 5 main audience and sub-audience. How do we sell the product in the right way? How do we make sure that when a new product is coming to the shared services area, we're not upselling it in a way that we put SaaS fees in for each one of this package, but actually add it as a right add-on and speak it to the right fee way versus add-on option. So it was a lot of question about how to think about monetization. And of course, we went very through to the upsell. Question? Okay. So Series F, we actually started to lead this sphere. We came as a powerhouse of 14 PMM at this point, very strong, came as a leader of the whole entire function of marketing, and took the company to a new phase from a lot of different ways. So we started with win-loss analysis. How do we make sure that we start to train the teams? What do we do good? What don't do good? Why do we win? Why do we lose? How can we get better out of that? So this is a phase that we are currently focused on in our company. Enterprise partnership, integration, everything that help our enterprise business to grow, and also there to be very focused in the right segment and prioritize them. We also have much more power to do the go, no go. I can say today to the CPO, listen, this is the data we have. This is the research we have from all different stuff that we see. I know that you want to push specific product you believe in, but in the end of the day, after 6 months, after 12 months, this is the projection we have. This is not an area we would go. Sometimes they get it, sometimes not, but we have this place in the table, which is very important. What else did we do? Alignment with product organizations. So there is nothing going out today without KPIs. I'm very focused on working with each one of the PM. We speak about organization of 500 engineers and PMs. Making sure that each one of the launches has the right tiering system from 1 to 4. What is important? How much we're going to support with tactics, but also the question about what are the KPIs, what exactly we're trying to achieve. Sometimes there is some negotiation between PMM and PM on that, but making sure we speak the same language. So the good stuff, when you come to the structure, after you really understand your specific gaps and goal of the organization, is that there is finite number of options to structure your team. And it took me a lot of time and a lot of conversation and long nights to really understand these structures and to learn from other mistakes and other people great success. So here are the options. You can build your product marketing team in an Agile or Scrum option, meaning you build a mini startup in your organization. Sometimes we can start trying that and testing that on specific product. We try to do it for a learning center for clients. So you're taking, well, let's say, one salesperson, one product marketer, one marketing, one designer, working together in a pod, and you give them a timeline to come back with a full end-to-end solution and support it from all aspects. This is not common to big companies as it used to be. It started from agile companies, from Spotify to Netflix. But today I see more of the structure coming from a small organization. The most common one is coming to product line. So 1 PMM to 3 PM is like I would say the magic number, but in the end of the day, most of us are not really meeting these numbers. At some point, we were 1 to 14 or 1 to 15. But the important stuff was to really make sure that we have the right PMM knowing and going in depth enough to the product line. The third option to build your team is going by the segment SMB to mid-market to enterprise. The next option to build your team is by the functions. I think this is something very common, and we see some example here today in Will Staff and other people that talked about different functions. It can be from the revenue support to retention area to competitive intelligence, sales enablement, packaging and positioning, and all other stuff. We also have the solution and horizontal solution. So what is the solution? You're taking a few product lines, putting them together in one solution that work holistically to solve one main problem. This is something that takes time to company, not just to have the right product coming together, but to really make them work together and speak the same language and give you the solution, because sometimes you sell a few products, but you're not really going through this whole journey in one piece. And we also have the industry and vertical. This is something very known and also very common in the industry. And we have other structure about the buyer journey, taking him end-to-end. I've never seen something like that. I heard about them, and I checked them out. I did not find it aligned with our needs through the growth. And the final is what I'm trying to solve for and add it in on my vision to that. So it's a combination. You're coming to the portfolio marketing solution, which is a product line, segment line, and solution, and you take the all go-to-market through this portfolio marketing. And I try to take all these options together to think what works for me. So I tried with one pod, which was not that successful for us because it was kind of a small experiment to see how we grow it, and we did not have a full support from the organization. But what we did do is come in with a combined structure that really take them all together. And I will speak about it in a sec. So while there is no one-size-fits-all, there are common structures that you can see in organizations that are in the mid-scale or coming to the late growth. And you can see there usually CMO leading the function, and then you have a VP PMM or director of PMM, have a line of PMMs that focus in product line, function, product portfolio, or product solutions. So this is something that we can see a lot. And while, as I said, all structures are bad by definition, in the end of the day, what we need to know is what is really important for us, what are our goals, what we're trying to achieve to really find the right structure that's helping us to optimize the solution. So I started as an entrepreneur. I was a former entrepreneur and had a few startups in Israel. I knew that the first person I'm going to hire is going to be kind of our DNA of the business, because they come with this kind of spirits that later really affect the way that I'm bringing the other people around and how we're going to work together. So I had this wish list in my mind for the first hire and said, I want a self-starter that have kind of entrepreneurial mindset, that come to roll up its sleeves, tons of curiosity, intellectual curiosity, asking a lot of questions, someone that is a people person, people like, easy to like, and someone that is really coming to, with no ego, to work with tons of people in alignment. And I will say thank you to Hannah Rodriguez, my first hire in the US for PMM role. That was much more than that. And then we have the current team. So I grew my team through these phases. And as you can see, it's a combination of team that come from the portfolio marketing to the function that support the cross needs of the team. So I'll try to take you to the series. Started in Series A, I was all alone, hands-on, a lot of work that I do for myself. It was very limited, so the impact was based on the product line that we had, which is SMB for restaurants. And then in Series B, I started to focus more in this line of product. So we had one PMM manager that supports the restaurants SMB, and a specialist that support to help him to execute the work. We also have the content strategy, because as I said, at this point, very focused in the top of the funnel, mid of the funnel, so a lot of educational content, started with case studies all across that. In Series C, when we started the hyper-growth phase, I added a PMM manager, also supporting the restaurant side, but now we had a new product. It started as an add-on, but it was a huge impact on our revenue stream. So this is a place that I wanted to add. And then I had a specialist supporting restaurants that came to support our full solutions. And the idea with solution was to take everything we're doing at the point at our standalone product and starting from product marketing perspective to really give the idea about how everything is going to solve together. Through the time, we had a customer experience person, we added the onboarding specialist, the business analyst that helped with market sizing, all aspects of understanding the opportunities in the market. And in Series D, when we built our e-commerce platform, we had a retail lead, and we also had a specialist to support all retail solution. So now we're in Series F. We just had $300 million in May, and we added our final director for product marketing team for restaurants to really make this robust solution something that will sphere our function. And to the end of that, I will give you some lesson learned by heart. But I really take a lot of that, the things that I learned in this last 3 years. So there is no one size fits all. It's not just a cliche, it's true, because in the end of the day, you need to find your specific needs in every time through these phases, and be able to adjust. This is really, really something that is dynamic and change between companies. Consult peers that did it before you. So thanks God, I had around 30 peers that took their time, CMOs, VPs, all across from Israel, US, and different areas that supported me with their experience. People did it before us. All this structure I learned from people in our industry that build their own teams. Most of your mistakes are reversible. So I did mistakes and keep doing them. But in the end of the day, most of the stuff we're doing, we have a lot of place to do experiments. So try, make adjustment, take right people, and then we'll be able to make shifting in their role in the team. Hire employees with complementary skills. This is one of the best things I've done, and I'm not sure I even knew I'm going to do that, because the honest answer is that pandemic started. We started to hire in Chicago, and there was not enough PMMs. So I had some PMMs, some marketing, some PM team. I have creative writer, and I had one economist. And it seems very weird, right? Not classic PMM. And it took me some time to onboard them all and to go to learning. But in the end of the day, working together, their complementary skills saved us so many times because they can shift quickly, they can be extremely agile and build big product. So coming from that, take calculated risk about people because mostly they're worth it. And in the end, it was, and still, amazing ride for me. So try to enjoy the ride. It's crazy, but amazing and fulfilling. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hila. Any questions for Hila? Okay.
Thanks for sharing that journey. There was a lot there, and I'm sure that's what it felt like when you were doing it too. I was kind of digesting the order that you grew the team as I'm trying to make those decisions for next year myself. And if I were boiling it down, did you kind of feel like to build on core PMM, your next step was to kind of take a step closer to the vertical market that you were addressing and have someone that was really focused on the needs of a particular vertical and use that as the first step, and then kind of think more broadly about specialized functions after that? Is that a fair summary of it?
So I think, again, it's coming from the specific needs that we have. What I thought when I started is restaurant business is our main business right now. It might shift in the future, but I wanted to make sure that I have someone, ideally, that come from restaurants that have this quick time of learning and can jump in to start a work. I wanted to have someone, hopefully, that come from SMBs because it's more related and easier to learn. This was what I had in mind. I think that some of the people in the G2M function, in the end of the day, also do some of the cross function that later became a specialization. But we started very broad, and then I made the specialization. I think that I needed, I would say, a proof of concept for PMM team. So I take it step by step and trying to be very close to the main line of product and the mainstream of revenue.
Any other question?
And feel free to reach out later. I would love to speak with you about it.
Hi, thank you for a very amazing talk. Right now, my team is aligned by product line, and I'm trying to think through, I think like a lot of people here, how to take that next step, and I'm considering solutions, right, or horizontals. My concern is, as I start to align people towards that, obviously, you lose a little bit of fidelity with the product. Potentially, if you have to market across multiple products, and there's only still one PMM, they can't spend day in, day out, hand in hand with product like they used to. How did you deal with that?
So when you have so many products, yeah, this is tough, honestly. I will be very honest with you. I'm not close to each one of the products as I used to be in the past. We have right now around 30 to 50 lines of products. Each one of them have sub-products and enhancements, so I can't. What helped me is to really make sure that each one of my people are aligned to a number of products, so we cover everything. What I'm doing is taking it from the top down, I would say. I'm supporting the launches. I'm making sure to be there when they launch the product. I'm asking the right question. I'm supporting in the research. In some cases, honestly, rolling the sleeves and doing some hands-on. If I see something that I believe it's going to be a tier one, even if we're not yet knowing that, and it's going to impact a lot of the revenue, it's going to bring us a new audience, a new logo, it's going to be something impactful for the company, even from the, how would I say it, like from the branding position. So I'm going to roll my sleeve and come into that. But I don't know each one of the small enhancements coming up, and sometimes I will need to consult my people, ask the question, making sure that I'm catching up. But I still think that at this point that we're growing tremendously, solution is not just a choice we have to make. It's something that just makes sense with how the business is growing and how clients are going to be a buyer, or how they're going to buy our solution. Because when you have a line of products and you want to see more touch rates, you want to see more funnels coming from end to end, and you want to make sure that you're selling a very robust solution and people think about you as this kind of solution and not seeing you just as a micro area of focus, you need to adjust it for the company. So it's not just for the PMM, it starts from the PMM, but it affects the whole company positioning.
Hi, Hila, up here. Thanks for the talk. I was actually very detailed and didactic too, with some great examples. And we're going through the company. I just reorganized the PMM team like 2 weeks ago to look at sort of established verticals and new verticals, because we see that we have different pain points and different ways to package the solutions when we take them to market. And I think you sort of touched on it on this last response, but it's kind of starting with us, and it doesn't really make sense for product to organize this way, but sales and customer success, and the other teams would make sense to start adopting this. How have you worked to get this alignment from leadership and show your case that this is going to make us more effective, right? Being organized this way.
I think it's one of all of us biggest challenges. I did not mention it, but I thought about it when I created this deck. It was very clear to me through the past 3 years that we're not well established overall, like product marketing in the organization. We're a small group, we're very niche, and each one of us really needs to struggle to get his positioning in the organization. So I will say it took time. And until today, sometimes we're misunderstood. It happens. But what I try to do to work very closely to the C-levels, work very closely to the CMO and CPO. Sometimes I needed to really talk very closely to them and understand why are we doing specific, decisions. And the KPIs became a big thing. Like, why are we pushing so hard to get KPI from each launch? I'm not going to launch without KPIs. And they said, but we're running innovation. We need to be MVPs. Like, why do we think about KPIs? And I said, how do you know that my work is good? How, as my manager, you can measure my success if it's going to be beautiful stories that you're not going to measure? And I pushed myself to the limit that I said, you need to ask that from me because this is what the organization needs to achieve. Is it more revenue? Is it more adoption? Why are we actually doing that? Because if you don't know where to go, you can go anywhere, right? So took them one by one, worked very closely with the CPO, with the sales enablement lead, CRO, all the C-levels, talking with them, asking them questions, coming very openly. What are your needs? What are you trying to achieve? How can I, in a very modest way, can support this growth that you're going through? How do I can help in pain points? And honestly, when you come with listening, helping them to achieve their goals, you just earn the trust. So this is something very crucial. It's come from wins that you do together and starting to build the trust.
Thank you, Hila, for the amazing talk. A round of applause for Hila.
Thank you so much.